And so this friction causes leads to ghost you. Give you weird objections, or just go get their insurance elsewhere. And so, what happens when you remove that friction? Leads say yes. Clients stay with you. Referrals come. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight with Ray, Robert. And we're going to dive in with you guys tonight. Really excited for everything we got to know with you guys.
Insurance Professionals is the aggregator unlike any other. You own your book of business 100%. You pay no sign-up fees, monthly fees, or exit fees. You have direct logins to the nation's top insurance companies, and you have the ability to quote and bind directly on the carrier's website. Insurance Professionals was built for insurance agents by insurance agents. Come see what makes us America's favorite aggregator at www.becomeaninsurancepro.com. Again, that's www.becomeaninsurancepro.com.
We're going to talk about making it easy for your prospects to buy from you, as that's what we want. So I'm David Denning, one of the founders of Jumpstart Go, which runs the Marketing for Insurance Agents group that a lot of you guys are coming and joining us from tonight for this from. And we created that group as a free resource for you guys to chat, connect, share what's going on with your agencies and knowledge, find referral partners. And then we do training every single week, Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern normally, either Facebook Live or webinars. And this week, we've got a special for you on this Wednesday due to July 4th and having Ray and Robert come join us for Canopy Connect. And we're really excited for what we're going to talk about tonight. So Robert, Ray, I would love you guys intro yourselves as well, share a bit about yourselves in Canopy with those that are here.
All right, awesome. Thanks for having us, guys. Ray, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, so my name's Ray. I've been at Canopy Connect. I'm the head of marketing here. I've only been here for a couple months, but prior to that, I've been at a bunch of SaaS tech companies. But I got my roots, started in real estate sales and managed a ton of websites and worked on, site optimizations and all that stuff, which is all going to, I'm trying to share some of my knowledge with you guys, and hopefully we'll bring that to bear. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here. And Rob, back to you.
Nice. All right. Yeah. No, guys, Ray is legit. So definitely ask everything from him. Put the comments here. Put it in the comments. By the way, also really love working with David and Al here. They're awesome and also a great resource. So I'm Rob. I'm originally from the Netherlands. I was just discussing with David about the Stroop office there and some Formula One. So if anybody is a Verstappen fan, definitely talk to me about that too. But yeah, from the Netherlands, like I moved here 5 years ago, been working in tech for the last 8 years. I worked at Dropbox, the cloud storage company. And then afterwards at Drift, which is a chatbot for on your websites on the marketing side as well. In the last year and a half, been helping insurance agents get more business and grow their business. So yeah, ask me about anything on that front. So I'll be talking a little bit about Canopy later. But yeah, Ray has some amazing content for you guys. So without further ado, Ray, I think you can take it home.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to tee up for tonight for you guys and get everybody all ready for diving in for you guys. And so, yes, we will talk about Verstappen in a little bit because speaking was very interesting. But what we're here for tonight is how to close 60% of your leads, how to make it easier for your prospects to buy from you, all about this process. And so maybe you felt that this is happening in your business. So, less leads are coming in your pipeline, less prospects are picking up your calls. And so less prospects are turning into clients, right? Which explains why it can be so hard to get clients, convert them, and scale to 6 figures or more in your business. And what's worse is that the leads you're paying for or working really hard to generate are falling off your sales process because of the friction you unintentionally put there. We'll be talking a lot about friction tonight and how to remove that and how to make this process easier. And so this friction causes leads to ghost you, give you weird objections, or just go get their insurance elsewhere. And so, what happens when you remove that friction? Leads say yes to you. Clients stay with you and referrals come to you. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight with Ray, Robert. They're going to dive in with you guys tonight. Really excited for everything they got to cover with you guys. And we're going to show how to get more, how you can get more sales and make it easy for the prospects to buy from you by dramatically increasing your qualified lead volume to earn more revenues with the simple tweaks to the buying journey, practical steps to get your prospects to say yes more often, faster, and right now, and how other agencies are able to close 60% more leads by using a little known but highly powerful sales process. So if you're looking to speed up your lead to sales time, then this is for you. You're in the right spot. And if you know you've lost sales because of how you've handled leads, this is also for you. And we'll show you how to fix it. And if you want to know how other agencies are closing at such high percentages on average, then this is for you as well. So make sure you stay on with us till the end. We got some special stuff that we're going to be getting you guys and some stuff you're absolutely not going to want to miss. Plus, that's when we'll be doing a Q&A as well. So please ask all of your questions throughout the presentation and what we're diving in with you guys tonight. We'll collect them all and we'll answer them in the Q&A. So if you want to make sure you get your question answered, go ahead and drop it throughout. Make sure to click everyone when you do drop it so everybody can see it and we can collect those for you. And we're going to have an awesome Q&A. So are you guys ready to dive into this training? Are you guys ready to learn how to close more in your insurance business? Right, let's go in the comments and let us know, and we will dive in. So with that, Ray, Robert, I'm really excited. Let's hop in.
Oh, Ray.
Ray's on mute or something.
What?
I am on mute. All right, I'm back.
He's back.
All right, okay, he's back.
All right.
Okay, I was like, wait, is it my mic?
I've got two mute buttons. It's terrible. Anyway, thanks for having us. I'm looking forward to jumping into this. So let's jump into this. I'm going to start with a story. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Just finished watching all the Obi-Wan Kenobi shows, and it got my, like, as I was doing the presentation, I said, okay, we got to work in Star Wars somehow. I always do. So here we go. You guys know the premise of Star Wars, and spoiler alert, if you have been under a rock for 45 years, tough luck. Premise of Star Wars, right? Death Star is here, and it's going to blow things up. There's a Rebel Alliance. We need to get the plans. We need to blow this thing up, right? So they have this plan. They're, okay, someone put up a vulnerability in the Death Star. There's a plan somewhere on this planet. This is under Rogue One, so that's only 5-7 years old, I guess. That's not too old. Step 1, get the plans. Step 2, analyze the plans. Step 3, blow up the Death Star. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Unfortunately, what we do know is things didn't quite go according to plan, right? They hit a lot of little side adventures and roadblocks and detours. So, I mean, just right off the bat, they beam up the plans. They try to escape. Here comes Darth Vader, cutting people up in the hallway like a bad mofo, just destroying people. Leia gets the plans, puts them in R2-D2. Plans are sent in R2-D2 off to this desert planet. Some whiny kid comes across it, finds a secret message that says, oh, we need help. Whiny kid goes, finds old scruffy wizard. Sorry, not the old scruffy wizard. Sorry, old wizard. Then they go find the scruffy nerf herder. I got my people mixed up here. Scruffy nerf herder, Han Solo and his giant Build-A-Bear. They fly off to go to this planet, which, oh, by the way, is destroyed. So then they get sucked into this not a moon, Death Star. Somehow they save a princess, they escape, they get those plans. Finally, when you got to step 2, they're already like an hour and 40 minutes into the movie. They escape, they analyze, they go, okay, great, we're going to go have a space fight. We found the vulnerability. Space fight, awesome trench scene. A lot of people go through there. They fail. Finally, the whiny kid flies through there. Han Solo comes back, gives him a little assist. Whiny kid's like, hey, I could do this with my eyes closed. And shoots a couple of these proton torpedoes, I think they're called, into a womp rat-sized hole. And finally, we get to blow up the Death Star. A lot of detours happen in that adventure. It wouldn't be a good movie if it just went straight linearly. But there you are. The premise of this whole story is, yay, I got to talk about Star Wars, and two, the journey is never as clear cut as you think. So you do need to think and be prepared for a lot of things. So, getting into what we're, a lot of the theme around here we're building around is around the buyer's journey, right? We're going to be kind of the path to understanding it is identifying that the typical customer's path to purchase and considering some of those detours. And I don't know where the analogy fails. Like getting a sale is not like blowing up the Death Star, but just bear with me. It's go along with the journey here. But also think about like, okay, what's the buyer thinking and doing at each of these different little stages in their life or in their process, and then how do we remove some of those obstacles? How do we make sure that we are in the right place at the right time and being able to be discovered and helping that whole process along? So that's the premise of what we're doing. Typical buyer's journey, and there's a lot of different like versions of this out there. You guys might use some sort of funnel. I like using the buyer's journey kind of model because it puts the customer first, and that's, I think, central to being like a good operator. You can look at it both ways, right? The funnel is a very like company centric way. The buyer's journey is more, what's the buyer doing? How can we be where they are? And there's a distinct difference there. But thinking through the three stages, we've got awareness, consideration, decision. Awareness is kind of like, there's no real problem. I might know that there might be a problem, but like everything seems fine, or maybe I'm noticing a few little signals, right? My insurance is fine. I might need more coverage, maybe. My neighbor Jenny's water heater burst while she was on vacation. That caused a big headache. That's got me thinking maybe a little something. Or just like general economic news, housing prices rose 22% in Phoenix. That's crazy. Do I have enough coverage for rebuilding costs or lumber costs, whatever those are? But those as a buyer, things got me thinking, but I don't know if I have a problem yet. These are just things that are out there. When you get a little bit more serious, when there's some sort of triggering, I call them trigger events, right? There's something that kind of pushes you over the edge that says, hey, maybe I do have a problem. I don't know what the solution is always, but right, what kind of coverage do I need? Do I have full coverage? I know that's always a hot button topic. Do I have full coverage? Right, and then you start thinking like, who did Jenny use up here? Well, and was she happy? Maybe I'll do a little bit of research on the web. Then you get to a point where like, okay, I know my problem. I think I know how to solve it. And so let's go and start trying to make some decisions, right? This is where you decide, hey, I do need to increase my coverages. I'm going to check rates online. I'm going to check certain agencies. I'll go fill out quote forms, and then you get into the purchase, right? So I'm going to walk you through each of those steps, and we'll have some examples and things to illustrate. The first one's awareness. Awareness, we're talking about, the prospect has identified the signs of a problem, and they're attempting to learn how to identify it, how to solve it. Like, where do I even begin? I don't even know, right? So what could you do as an agent at this step? And we covered a ton of this in our last webinar just last week, which we'll send a link out to. But it's, how do you stay top of mind? How do you build your brand awareness, your presence on social media and wherever? What can you do to educate your clients, your prospects, and really engage in the community, in community groups, and all that? Those are all the there's a million things. Literally, David and Elle and all of us last week, we were talking for a good hour and a half on our social media webinar, how to close more business with social media. Tons of good stuff in there. You can hit that QR code. I'm going to pause here for a sec. Hit that QR code, or you can grab that link, or at the end, we're also going to drop some links in there too.
Nice. David has got it. No, this was an awesome
David's got
webinar. So definitely
Yes.
check it out. How to get more on the on the awareness side.
We had a lot of
get
fun
more
with you guys on
discussion.
that one. It was
Yeah.
a solid webinar.
Yeah. So we don't want to rehash what we just did, and there's a ton to go into about, staying top of mind, how you can educate your audience, all that fun stuff. Go check that out. We're going to move on to the more higher converting areas, the place where you can actually, I think, affect some real change in your processes. So we're moving into the consideration stage. We're talking about the prospect now realizing that there's a pain or there's a trigger event, like I had mentioned, and they're seeking information because they're in education mode. They want to feel more confident and more knowledgeable. And so what are they doing? They're, according to a survey I found, 69% are doing a search online. That's kind of no doubt, right? Everyone pulls up the Google when there's a problem. And it's, it's your job as a local business, as your insurance agent to show up there, right? You need to show up where they're looking, and that's going to be on your Googles, on your local search, and the Google My Business page. So, and this is a hot mess, but this is the anatomy of what the search results look like. So on the left here, this is like the full page. I typed in homeowners insurance, Phoenix, Arizona. And then what you'll see, the first part, which is basically the first everything you'll see, search ads. You can play around in there, create some search ads, but it's going to be highly competitive. Like a lot of these bigger companies, they've got this down to a science. So it's going to be hard to outbid them. There is an opportunity there. If you go into your Google search ads, if you're hyper local, if you live in like a suburb, you could probably find some traction in there. But if you live in a Phoenix, if you live in a big metro, good luck. It's gonna be a highly competitive. But again, if you live in a smaller town, you might find some good opportunity there. Then this next section, you got local listings, which is the place that you really want to show up, and I'll dive into that in a sec. Then you've got your alternative searches. Most people ignore that. Then you get into your real search results. Try to get in here, but it's also dominated by these big SEO players. Again, you can work on your SEO game. There's lots of ways to A/B test that and improve those. Then you get more search ads, and then no one reads this stuff. There's related searches, which sometimes helps out. But as you dive into these results, if you click more results here, or what does that say? More businesses, it pops up a map, and then now you're getting more relevant. Now you're getting more local, and this is where it's important to make sure you are, because you don't know where in this map people are. And if you're close by, if you're in a suburb where it's a little bit maybe less dense than what it is here in Phoenix, you can really show up, right? You'd be the 1 to 5, if you can be the top 1 to 5 results here, you've got a fair shake in someone discovering you and deciding to go to you. But in order to show up here, you need to have good information and these good reviews. So this is where building out your Google business profile is going to really come in handy. And this is what it looks like. Again, this is a really long thing. It stretches down that whole length of the page, right, all the way down this side. If you're someone searching for your company name, or if they click into one of these, this long profile shows up. I broke this into 3 columns just so we can all see it here and not have to squint our eyes too much. This is one of our customers, McDade Insurance Brokerage Group. They do a great job on their Google My Business page. Super easy to, it's super easy to set up. You've got these sections here for call to actions, get people to your website, directions, call. You can set up your own phone number there for them to call you. Obviously, getting as many Google reviews as you can is important. Your basic, company information. This one I want to call out. Not a lot of people set this up because it's not one of the default settings, but you can actually go a little bit deeper into your settings and set up a section for products. And all these are essentially our links and a thumbnail, but because they're called out as specific products, right? For each line that you sell, right? You can have a life insurance, auto insurance, home insurance, and all that. And what Charles McDade did here is he actually has one that says send and compare. And so this link actually opens up straight to a Canopy Connect embedded link that he's got, and they can plug in their information. We'll get into that a little bit later, but it's a great way, real easy call to action for people to take. They've also got this little category section, so you can, if you're doing personal and you're doing business, you can kind of group those separately as well, and just let people know, right? Especially if someone's looking for a commercial and they know, they do that you offer it and it's called out specifically here. That's great. If you can seed it with some Q&A, that's always helpful, just to show that you're a knowledgeable expert. And even if it, like the first few you have to do, you got to get your someone in your office or someone to just kind of help you seed that, just so you can get some interaction going there. But that's just going to show that you're being proactive. Obviously, reviews are awesome. And just background, like put a ton of effort behind your reviews, right? Everyone you close that's happy with you, put in a process in place that will get you that review, even if you got to send them a $20 gift card or whatever. Because McDade Group, they've got 168 reviews. This brokerage has only been around for 2 years. I think they just celebrated their 2-year anniversary, right? And so they've already got 168. They're all 5-star reviews, right? And so that stuff all shows up. Then there's this section here where you can do posts. Now, I just came across this article that said, like, Google is giving a lot of relevance to this now, and it's helping your stuff show up a little bit better if you're posting regularly on here. And it could be stuff that you're already posting. You just kind of repurpose it here. All this is, again, is a little bit of text, a thumbnail, and a link. So there's lots of ways to do it, and they're not specifically like, they don't have to be like your Facebook post, but they could be. So this is all the information. There's a ton of information right where your prospect already is, right? So in the comments, if you guys have your own Google business page, it used to be called Google My Business. Now it's Google Business Profiles or something like that. Yeah, Google Business Profiles. Drop that in the chat. I just want to know if you've got one. But look, here's my tips for you. A, set it up. All you have to do is just go on to Google and search Google Business Profile. It's going to show up. If you're already using Google products like Google Analytics or anything like that, or Gmail, like, it's all connected because it's the Google. Set it up, work on your positive reviews. A really good tip here is replying to your reviews, because what you're able to do is fill in any gaps that maybe your customer now that wrote the review may have, like, if they show some kind of concern or some kind of challenge, you can add some color to it, as long as it's kind of safe to share publicly, on certain circumstances. You do want to be sensitive to that. Within those replies, mention your products, mention what lines of insurance, because that's just going to help for like SEO juice if people start searching for that, and that'll get you a little bit more likely to show up. Always helpfully game the system. Add products like I had mentioned, and then also sync up your blog posts, your Facebook posts, or just post those into those posts. So I think those are all really helpful, practical tips. You can go through, because I've got a side consulting business. I went in and I set it up. I got all this set up in about 18 minutes. So it's a really easy lift to do. What else can you do at this phase? Thinking through, again, we touched on this last time, but educating your clients and prospects, building an advocacy network, right? All those great Google reviews, they gave you 5 stars, make them your new best friends, make them your little army of whenever someone shows up in some local community network that and they're like, hey, who do I use for homeowners insurance? Like, you're the one that they put in there. That's hugely important. This is Patrick McBride. He's from the McBride agencies, are one of our customers. He does this on his Facebook page, and he also posts it on his personal profiles. But he records these little 1 to 3 minute videos that just kind of goes into right, what an umbrella policy is, what's the difference between, actual cash value, what are these different little riders that might be in your policy that you're not thinking about, what are the common holes that he picks. You can come up, like, if you sat there and you wrote down a week's worth of like questions that you actually encounter on your normal calls, just make a note of those and respond to them in a video and post it. It doesn't have to be produced like this, but like just post it. And that's going to get you started. You're going to get more comfortable on camera. There's a lot of other little tools that you can use as well that make this pretty easy. Canva works pretty well for doing like quick design work. This other one on the side of creating your little advocacy network. This is from a network that a community group that I used to be in. I moved. This is back when I lived in Alameda in the Bay Area. Someone posted this. Any recommendations for home and auto? Pretty general. 36 comments. Some of them were replies, but 21 out of 32 mention Kelly Lux and from State Farm. So she's just dominated that network, that community. And she didn't post at all here, right? This is all other people jumping to her and referring her, which is obviously huge. That tells you she's doing a great job. People are really happy with her. Not just new customers, but new and old and all that. So to the extent that you can build that little, your own little army out there, and there's ways you can incentivize those things either in conversation or just when you see these things happen, reach out to your people that have advocated for you and like personally and thank them, buy them a coffee, and they're going to keep doing it, right? It's huge. It's a huge opportunity. And if you can dominate, like I think in our town, there's probably 30, 40 insurance agencies is my guess. To dominate like this is huge. In fact, backstory, when I first moved to Alameda, I searched through some posts like this and I reached out to Kelly and she said, I can't insure you because we have too many policies in this is a small little island town in earthquake-ridden Bay Area. So they're like, we need to de-risk. So they're not letting us write any more home policies. So, but yeah, that's how kind of important I think that can be. Get those raving fans. So this is the point where we talk about the decision. So this is, I just thought about this and I was like, okay, this is like a 12-year-old meme now, but whatever. LeBron's decision. So when your prospects get into a decision phase here, we want to know, they know what their problem is. They know how they think they'll resolve it. And that's kind of the key word. Like they think they know. But that's where you kind of come in as the expert when they do reach out to you. But they have an idea of how they're going to approach it. They've done their search, they've asked their recommendations, and they're on your website. They've called they've called your office directly, however they're coming to you. What can you do? We talked about search, Google Business. Make sure you can be found. That's first and foremost, because if they can't find you, you more or less don't exist, and they're certainly not under any consideration there. But then you got to think about optimizing your website. What improvements can you make there to make that work well? Optimize your form functions, how you want to go about doing that, how you're handling your inbound call processes, and how you're following up with leads, both like in the moment and like later on down the line. We did a survey. I think this was like about a year ago. But some of our agencies, 98% have a website. That's like everyone has one. If you don't, like, go on Squarespace and go get one. your AMS probably has some built-in one that you can use as well. 67% have a quote form on their website, 36% offer some kind of direct booking on their website, and then 23% even show what the quote is maybe right after submitting or soon after. So you want to do as much as you can to kind of improve those numbers. Obviously, you want to have a form on your website. You want to let them book, like make it easy. This is what they want to do. Don't think like, let me put up these fake barriers to qualify someone. Like bring those down, put yourself in front of the customer as easy as you can. Talking through some website improvements. Some of it's basic, right? Look reputable. Make sure your copy's good and not generic. If you're using like a Squarespace, like I said, I'm sure there's some like insurance agent template. That's fine, but make sure you go in and you customize it and you put words in your own words. So it doesn't look like every other agency site out there. Make sure you got strong call to actions. And then of course, forms, which I'll get into is its own little thing. A/B testing is, so in my side of the world, in sort of the tech marketing world, this is huge. We do this for everything. But it's something that's really easy to do that could yield some really good results for you. Caveat, you do need to have some level of decent volume just to make sure you're not skewing results. If it's just like 12 people come to your website a month, like don't do this yet. Like let's work on that first part. Let's work on the search part. And then we'll work on optimizing. But with a tool like Google Optimize, again, this is part of your basic Google suite of things, and it's free to use, totally free. You can test headlines. You can do A/B testing on headlines. You can test CTAs. Is it better to say book an appointment or get a quote or compare your insurance, right? Think about those as far as like where they are, where they're located, and what they say. Like those are different little options that you can test. And then you can even do things like split URL testing, which is people come to, digsinsurance.com, assume, and then like instead of going to the homepage, we can redirect those and test totally different designs, right? This is always nice to do if you're trying out something totally new and you're like, hey, is this going to be better than what we currently have? And depending on what your success barometer is, you can set what success looks like, right? Success can be number of clicks. Success can be like, hey, if this performs just as well as the other one, like that's fine. That's a winner to me, right? Because I just didn't want to, when we're trying out a new web page design or homepage structure, we want to make sure that we're not breaking anything. And so sometimes just doing equally as good is fine. So this is a little bit of what you can do with it. Like, so this website's got this big banner. This one's long. This one's something that they're testing, and all they're testing is really who's clicking this button. So you're able to just real time test that. Whenever someone comes to the site, it does a little 50-50, like which one are we going to show them? And it shows them that. So really easy to do. Again, if you're having like 100 or so visitors at least to your website, like it's worth doing. And then a caveat on there is like, don't test too many things at once. It's called A/B testing. So you can test A against B. A lot of people get in here and they get too excited and they're like, well, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and E testing. And then you don't have enough volume to figure out what actually works or anything like that. So, yeah, Rob, I'm going to hand things over to you. Give my voice a little bit of a break.
You deserve it, right? This is awesome.
I've been going. Yeah.
Some good gold nuggets in there. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Yeah, you guys are probably wondering if I was still there, but yes, I am. So just wanted to kind of take it home here from like the moment like people are like actually interested and they're about to reach out, right? Like how do we actually optimize there and actually like get some more closing going there? So David already stole my like little CPA, but like put a little like close more in the comments if you guys are still interested to learn more about that. So it starts with a form, right? So somebody comes to the website, they finally decided like, hey, based on all the kind of the social proof with Google, with Facebook, they're ready to reach out. They can do that typically in one or two ways. One is a form, two is a call, right? So like I'll handle the calls in a second, but let's assume that they're gonna reach out for the form. We see a lot of these forms on the website, right? And I've been working with a lot of agencies over the last year and a half, and a lot of them have long forms like this. So with forms, it's always a balance between asking too little questions and too many, right? Like people don't probably have their VIN numbers ready, so definitely make sure that you minimize the number of questions on the forms. I always say first name, last name, email address, phone number. That will get you the lead, and then from there, anything you can get is a bonus. So definitely keep that short and sweet. Ray, can you go to the next slide? We have we'll have a couple of tips there. One is to ask the basic questions, right? Like I said, and then also you can potentially use Canopy, which is like an easy way to capture kind of the rest of that information. So once you have the lead information, you can go directly into Canopy, get all the other details. For those who don't know Canopy, yes, Canopy Connect basically helps you capture all the current insurance information on the personal line side. So all P&C, so all home, auto, but also all their toys, renters, umbrella, anything, even life insurance. We get all those policies. We get you all the back pages, so you don't have to bombard the prospect with any questions. So if you go to the next slide, Ray, then we can kind of show people how that looks like. One example here from Freedom, they made it super simple, just a quick landing page that they have on their site. They even linked this in their Google My Business, so kind of tying it again back to their Google My Business. You can go to their site. Whenever you want to get a free quote, you click on Import My Insurance. They have a little video there explaining what Canopy is and how the process works. And then literally the only thing that people need to do is click on that Import My Insurance button. We ask them for consent, like, hey, is it okay to pull a copy of your insurance info and directly send that to the agency there. So from there, that's what happens here. So we're going to send that information to Freedom. They select a carrier, and all they need to do is select the carrier that they're with, and then we ask them if they have an online account. If they don't have it, we link them directly to Geico. They can create one. But if they're with Geico Progressive, they probably already have one. So they select yes, they log in there. And that's it. Like they do that. We check the username and password, and once that's we know that's correct, we get all that information. And the beautiful thing is we even get all the contact information too. So you don't even have to ask them for their first name or last name. We get that directly from the carrier too. So you get all the contact info, all the address info, all the policy info, and as you can see here, even the documents. So you get all the deck pages, all their their premiums, their limits, deductibles across all the personal lines. So it's going to show nicely in the dashboard. So this is an easy way for people to get to contact you, but also for you to get all the information you need to quote directly in 30 seconds. You'll have that, and as you can see, we have like the premiums, the limits, deductibles, effective dates. Everything is going to be in here. That's basically how Canopy can help there. And then you guys can follow. Like, I think that the key thing is also with inbound calls, it's really about the customer, right? And like meeting them where they are. Some people they'll come in, they'll be interested, but they don't have 30 minutes to chat with you and like actually look up their VIN numbers. We can take care of all of that. So even if you have inbound calls, really important to build rapport, right? Like, in a lot of agents that I talk to, they think that building rapport is like having, like, basically being that interrogator on the phone, right? And like asking them all these questions. But that's not what rapport building is. We take kind of care of that with the Canopy link. You have them on the phone, you ask them a few basic questions, and directly go into how do we get that info? Like send them the link through Canopy Connect. We even help you text it to them, so you can say, hey, I'm going to send you this link. It's going to take you 30 seconds to fill it out. This is how it looks like on mobile. Directly go and fill that out. You can coach them through it, help them reset the password if they have some issues there. And then once that's done, you get within a minute, you get all their information, and you can keep talking about like, hey, I see that you have this home. I see that you have these 2 autos. Oh, you also have life insurance. Okay, let's talk about that, right? Like really have like an informed discussion instead of being the interrogator, and also really focus on that kind of apples to apples, and really knowing what people have. So just a quick thing on Canopy. So we'll help you do that apples to apples quote. We'll get you the premiums, we get you all their policies, so you can cross sell and upsell. And ultimately, it just saves a lot of time for both parties. Like you guys don't have to, as agents, not have to be on the phone all the time to get basic info to quote, and you also get better close rates. Like we have an agent that I recently talked to. He had 15 people go through Canopy. He closed 13 of them, which is like almost 90% close rate. Where he used to be in like the 50 to 60% range, because he just knows exactly what he has and he can kind of find those gaps there. So little plug in Canopy, but it will definitely help you guys in speeding up the process there, and kind of making it easier for the customer to buy.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. And then I think another important component in this last step is improving your follow-up processes. And a few things come to mind on places that you can optimize here. Setting and committing to specific follow-up times, right? We call them service level agreements with yourself or with whoever else is on your team that says, hey, an online quote comes in, right? We're going to do an initial follow-up, or we're going to do a callback within X amount of time, whatever works for you, but is still fast enough, whether that's 10, 15 minutes, which is probably obviously the sooner the better. But then also, like, can you build in some automations that, like, okay, once that comes in, if they haven't filled out the Canopy Connect link, maybe we can send an automated email that goes out within a couple minutes, to get them, to prompt them to do that, so that when you have that information, when you do that callback, even if it's just 15 minutes later, if you've got their deck pages and all that, like, you're ready to go, right? So set and commit to those follow-up times. If it's something like where they say, hey, call me back in 3 months, like, I wasn't really ready for this, right? Or maybe you had the conversation, like, make sure you set up those reminders in your CMS systems to make sure that you're following up with them well before their renewal comes up, if that's what they're potentially waiting for. And then, yeah, to the extent that you can automate anything, like, let's automate things. And hopefully you've got an AMS and CMS system that works well and enables you to do that. But, like, take a pause and make sure that you don't let these leads that you're working really hard to get all the way through and let them fall through the crack, or fall into the trench. Tied it back to Star Wars. And then, yeah, and then just keeping in touch. If you're not already doing this, some sort of value-added newsletter or email that you can send out once a month or so. I wouldn't, for the most part, unless you're doing business with them, I don't think you need to go more frequent than that. It's just something to stay top of mind. You guys know this. You're probably already doing something like this, and if you're not, it's pretty easy to do. And if you want to integrate that back into driving people back to your social site, that's awesome. Or back to your website if you've got a blog or something like that, where you kind of own some of that content. And this is where a lot of that educational content comes in, that we had talked about earlier. If you want to do some of that stuff, and this is also an opportunity to stay top of mind and work on maintaining your existing customer base, and making sure that you've got your what do we call them, your little army of raving fans and advocates. That's an opportunity to kind of continue incentivizing those and staying top of mind there. So that brings us kind of to where we are. Just a quick review. We've got awareness, consideration, and decisions. Awareness, you want to stay top of mind, educate, increase your presence, engage in the community. Consideration, you're looking at improving your search engine rankings, creating your Google business profile, continuing to educate your prospects, and building that advocate network. And then at the decision stage, we're looking at a lot of improvements in that process. How do we take the friction out of that? Improving your website incrementally, doing form optimizations, or maybe having a short form with a follow-up form that goes to, or the follow-up link to Canopy Connect. Doing this with your inbound call processes, and then also optimizing your follow-up processes. So that's kind of the journey that I've kind of taken you on. I think we can. I'll turn it back to you, Dave.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love the focus on diagnosing rather than selling, and really looking at the entire sales process all the way from the awareness, and breaking it down and looking at those areas for those micro conversions that you're talking about. I think part of why this is so valuable of what Ray and Robert just covered is so many people view that buying process and sales process as, okay, I need to get in touch with someone, I need to sell it, and not looking at any of the pieces that go into that process. So you don't even recognize that those are there and evaluate those, then you can't improve those and look at all these opportunities that you have along the way in order to end up with the results. And that's the kind of thing, if you don't know what you can fix or improve or put processes into place there, then nothing changes at the end result, and you don't even know what to go evaluate or put in place. So I think this concept of breaking this down into micro conversions is really going to help everybody with how they go through and evaluate their sales processes in order to improve that process. And that's exactly what they just covered for you guys. So I want to ask, have you been tracking? Does this make sense? Write yes in the comments. This makes sense to you. If you get value out of this, if you're understanding what Ray and Robert are talking about, like why a lot of this is conceptual. This is pretty advanced concepts within your marketing. A lot of people are just used to, either bought a lead or, someone came and talked to me from a referral. But this is really diving into the full process and strategies behind what you're taking a look at in your marketing and sales, and how that leads to sales. So I see a lot of yeses. I see people tracking. So if you haven't been tracking, or even if you have, and there's particular areas you got questions on, then we're about to hop into the Q&A section. So please ask your questions. We've been collecting a few, and we're going to do that in just a second. Before we do that, I do want to highlight right here, you can use this link, or also just grab your phone and the QR code. Either way, we'll drop the link in the chat right now. And with this will have a copy of the presentation slides that we just went through. I know Ray and Robert covered a lot. So if you want a copy of those presentation slides, so you can go through, see everything they covered, dive in with that. There's some case studies as well. And then Robert, Ray, you want to talk a little bit about Canopy Connect, what you guys have for them as well, if they go to this link?
Yeah, so we're doing a little promotion for those of you here in attendance and those watching at home on a recording. For Canopy Connect, we're $99 a month. You get a 14-day free trial period. And then for folks here, we're doing a $50 off promotion. You enter the promo code Fireworks 2022 at checkout, and you get $50 off that first month. We also have some additional discounts if you do annual plans, where I think it's $9.99 a month or $1,000 a month, something like that. But you'll still get your $50 off on that as well. So go over to usecanopy.com and sign up there, and ton of value. And I think we're good. We can go to
just get going, and you can also, if you go to our website, just book a demo. So if you guys want to chat a little bit more one-on-one on like the value for your agency, always happy to talk a little bit more. And as part of the starting the trial, you also get onboarding calls with the team, so you guys can keep going. I saw Clark already asking a question if the staff can share the login. The $99 a month is for the full agency, so we don't have a per user fee. So don't worry about that. You can add everybody. Everybody can have their own login. So don't worry about that.
And guys, I want to highlight, there are so many agencies using Canopy Connect. I actually just had a call with one today. It's actually been around 40 years. And it's like, oh yeah, of course I use Canopy Connect. And it's a huge difference in my agency. And so if you're not using this, you're a little bit behind, and you're making it harder for yourself and harder for your customers to purchase from you. So this is a really inexpensive solution for the time it's going to save you, one, but also how it's going to make that process easier for both you and your customers. So that's what we've talked about tonight, is how do I make this process more frictionless and easier for my customers to move through and purchase. When things are easy, you get more people buying. When things are tough, people got the attention of goldfish. Like, it's anything distracts them. They don't have time to stick around. You know, just watching a Netflix show is hard enough to get someone to sit and pay attention, much less talk about insurance versus insurance. And so the easier you make it, the better you'll do. So, yes. We're gonna go ahead and hop in, answer some questions. Please drop some more questions in for us, whether it's about micro conversions, around Canopy Connect, around insurance in general. Go ahead and drop some more, but we're gonna go ahead and dive in and answer a few of these. So Virginia was asking Facebook ads versus Google search engine or Google ads. Opinions, thoughts on that, Ray, Robert?
Yeah, I think you could do both. They're both very different. And we talk a little bit about Facebook ads and boosting posts and that sort of thing in our last webinar. So the main difference here is, of like when I was talking about them, Facebook ads are going to be great for increasing your presence and your awareness. And you can do some, like, you don't know where the buyer is in their journey when you're doing Facebook ads, right? They're just there, and you're targeting based on, right, they live in your town and maybe they showed some interest in insurance, or they own a car, or they own a pool. Like, you can do that level of targeting, but you don't know what they're thinking, right? You don't know where they are in their journey, right? So you're there, and it's broad, and you're going to be top of mind, and I think it's important to do that. And I think at the early stages of building your social profile, building your company, you're going to need that boost, because like the 25 people that are following your page is not going to be enough to move the needle. You got to attract people in ways, and advertising on Facebook is going to help with that. On the search side, then you're looking at, like, they're searching with some level of intent, and that's very different, because now they're searching for certain terms, and you're targeting on those terms. So the way that your call to actions can be a lot crisper, because based on what you're targeting, they're searching for homeowners insurance in this town. Great, you can put them straight to a quote. If they're searching for that, they're either buying a new home or they have an existing policy already. Canopy Connect plug, if they have an existing policy already, have them use that, reduce the friction, and then you'll be able to provide a better quote. So that's my thoughts there. I think there's room to do both. Search ads, again, can be tricky, get expensive. You can obviously put limits on it, but like, it can get competitive. So it depends on what your tolerance is, and kind of how your local search market plays out, because it may not make sense financially, right? If you're going to be paying like $300 for a lead that's going to net you, maybe $500 on the whole policy, like, and that's only if they close and win. It's probably not worth it. But you can. I'm an advocate of experimenting and trying it and seeing what works.
Thanks, Ray. Robert, I think you're going to answer. There's a couple questions popped up, like, is this just for P&C agents, life agents? Can you explain a little bit more on that side?
Yeah, no, for sure. So a couple questions on Canopy, so happy to cover them. We're definitely, like, we're focused both on P&C and life. With most of the integrations, we pull everything, and we even have specific life integrations for like MedLife, and some of the others we don't do health. So unfortunately, it can be of help there. But definitely for any agency, even for life and thinking about doing some P&C on the side, this would be a great way to do that, and even just for life. And then I think another question on, like, if we do the ads, like, we won't be helping you guys with the ads, unfortunately, but we can definitely help kind of like with the post process, like once people show interest. And of course, you can use the Google My Business page, like have that link to your Canopy link directly, etc., and help you guys get leads that way. We also have the agencies just doing a little banner on their website that links to their Canopy site, like, hey, do you want to get a quick quote right now? Get it started here. So that's where we kind of come in.
Yeah, I see a lot use it just within social media of, connecting with people, and then like, hey, just come here and fill, click this link, takes them to Canopy, fill it out. So the agent's got the deck pages and is ready to do quotes, stop on a call, to have an appointment with them. So, Dr. Lee, Robert, can you explain real quick again on the life side of how Canopy can help on the life side?
Yeah, no. So if they have any current policies with life with that carrier, we'll pull it, and that works even for, let's say that they were with farmers, like, and they happen to have life policies there. We would also pull it live, or with, of course, with the more like life focused carriers. So yeah, we'll definitely pull that live information as well, and of course if they have any Hugman Auto as well, and even all the other lines basically on P&C.
Yeah, and so once you have that life policy, then you can take a look and see, okay, am I competitive against this? Could I beat this? Can I quote and see if I am able to beat this, better coverage or for less or anything where there? And then you can have that conversation with the prospect and potentially make that sell as well. So
yeah,
so that's definitely one of the use cases of Canopy Connect for sure. Let's see, make sure Brad Stewart.
Yeah.
No, let's see. We answered that question with Brad Stewart. David Bear was asking, I'm starting over in a new state and community. What would be my best path to success? So for his insurance business, Ray, Robert, what would you recommend when someone start over in a new place?
Yeah, Ray, you want to tackle that from the marketing side? I can give some thoughts on the sales side.
Yeah. From the marketing side, the Google business profile page, get that set up. Or sooner the better. And if you've got, I would leverage, if you've still got relationships with wherever you used to sell, like get them to give you some reviews as just a boost to get started. As long as they're talking about the service that you provide, I don't see anything wrong with that. To at least to seed your initial reviews and testimonials, and that'll help give you a head start there. You can try, as you set up your social profiles, experiment a little bit with Facebook ads at a local level. Make sure you're joining all the local communities groups. Like there's a ton on Facebook. I feel like every city, town, neighborhood, like they have that on Facebook or next door, like wherever they are, join those, but join kind of as a fly in the wall, I think, at first. Like you'll probably get banned if you go in there and be like, hey, I'm new to town and selling insurance. But usually those groups have like a local business Monday or things like that you can use as an announcement avenue. So those are kind of the initial sort of steps I would take. Build a decent website. I think they're pretty, start with something simple. I know there's like insurance website specialists. David could probably refer you to someone, or you can just go on Squarespace, or you can go on any number of sites and build something that looks decent with good copy. And I think you'd be well on your way and probably ahead of half the group here. Not half the group here, half the group that's not here, I should say.
Love it.
Nice,
Robert,
nice. Yeah, I think on the sales side, so one probably still need to get licensed in that state, and then once you I think with remote work, you can even keep operating in your old market if you have the connections there anyway. But I think that's key things that I think for scratch agents that I talk to. Just really getting involved in communities, so joining Facebook groups, even next door, be around and start to get kind of embedded in the community. I think Ray had a really good point, like leverage some of your older, like happy customers that can leave you reviews so you get that initial social proof. And then I think a big one as well is like working with referral partners. So like going to the local chamber of commerce, going to business meetings, and even like coaching groups like for business owners in the area, and kind of getting that referral program going. That will be like really big. I think like we have a lot of agents we have working with like realtors or mortgage lenders, loan officers, car dealerships. That's going to be hard. You're new in town, but also it's a good way to kind of get out there and get those referrals going, because that's going to be like something so that those people can give you like leads for the next 10 years, right? So that's a big one. Definitely focus on that, and even like little Canopy plug, but you can also use Canopy there, create a link for them, and they can just send it out on your behalf. So always like, again, happy to share some more, but that's kind of what I got.
Awesome, thank you. Perfect. There was a question on you explained what the disadvantage to asking too many questions in the process was, is that prevents people from finishing, going through that, and moving forward. Now, on the flip side, though, you mentioned that there's an issue with asking too few of questions. So can you elaborate a little bit more on, how asking too few of questions can also be a disadvantage?
Yeah, I could take that. Like if all you're asking for is their name, email, and phone number, then you're gonna have to call them back and then start this whole interrogation process all over, and you're kind of starting from a bit from scratch, because you don't know anything about them or what they need. If you're only asking some of those bare minimum questions, which is why we kind of recommend the approach of like asking the bare minimum questions and then obviously figuring out like, okay, what do they need? And I think even leaving a field that just says message or some version of that, where someone can just free type what they want, like that's so freeing in a sense, because they're not trying to pick from like some drop down menu that maybe is binary when they're like, well, I need this and this and this, or they're just trying to explain their situation. The better that you can get that information up front, I think is the better, than kind of going in and just like, okay, I got contact information and now I have to call them back. And like, you're just creating all these opportunities for there to be a drop off. If you have to go back and ask for more information, which is why we're advocating like, do a short form, and then you can do like on the thank you page for that, say, hey, take a shortcut, send us your information through the Canopy Connect link. That makes it a lot faster. I don't mean to keep harping on Canopy Connect, but obviously I'm biased. But yeah, I think that's a great kind of workflow that works well, because it's kind of an optional step. But if you can kind of roll into work in the morning and know that like three demo requests or 3 quotes came through overnight, and then their deck pages are already there for you to start working. Like by the time you call them back at 9-10 in the morning, like you can have a whole quote written up and say, hey, this is what I can get you on apples to apples, and this is where I think you can improve and cover some of the holes that your current policy isn't covering, right? And you can justify potentially a higher priced policy, knowing that you're giving them better coverage, and you can explain all that because you've got it.
Perfect. Thanks, Ray. Steve was asking, Ray, how do you get their trust in the first 15 seconds of the call? Trust is your only mission on the first call, in my opinion, is what Steve was asking. So, Ray, how do you establish that trust and rapport?
Tell them a story about Star Wars. Just kidding. No, I'm not the salesperson, so
you default on that one to Robert.
I knew it.
I'm punting that. I'm punting that.
Just like put it in front of Rob. Like, so what I think one is like getting the right info, right? Like if you already know kind of what they're interested in, and I think ultimately if they reached out, that there is already some level of interest, right? So it's not a completely cold call, and that's kind of to that balance. Like if you have if you know, hey, they're interested in like in a home quote, like just asking them like, hey, what happened? Like, what has you reaching out? For my calls, that's more specific to Canopy, but can also be relevant. Like just even looking them up on their social media, right? Like kind of knowing who they are, just like checking their Facebook or LinkedIn profile, just having a little bit of context. But when I saw your question, Steve, I was actually going to see if Dave had some good insights here, because I mean, David, like, what are your thoughts here?
So, I mean, that first 15 seconds, that trust rapport is key. Now, what will happen the first 15 seconds? Maybe, maybe not. But I think a key thing I think a lot of people skip past and do, especially when it is a call and they're planning on talking to you. That's not like you reaching out to someone cold or an aged lead or something like that, and you're actually having a call, whether it's inbound or not. I think it's framing the call a little bit, right? Like, and putting them at ease, right? When people hop on, especially with insurance agent, they know it's probably going to try to sell them something or whatever. There's already that bit of sales resistance, especially if you don't already have trust with them. And so I think frame that call of like, hey, hey, Robert, like really look forward to talking to you today. And dive in, I'll have a few questions for you. My job here is just to help you and make sure you got the right thing in place. Even if you already do have the right thing in place, that's awesome. That's fantastic. My job is just to make sure you got peace of mind, that you got the protection and stuff in place, whether that's even with me. So that's all we're doing here today. Does that sound good? And I think go ahead and removing that sales pressure and that I'm going to be sold and, already knowing what's going to be happening during this call versus, man, I don't know what they're going to take me to next or talk about. I think that already starts to relieve a little bit of that and starts to build up a little trust on like, okay, you already told me that he's just here to help me, talk with me. And, it's also okay if I don't necessarily end up, purchasing from him or something. And I think that's a way to kick off that call off the bat. I mean, you can talk about weather, other stuff. No one really cares about that. And I don't really think that's the best way of building rapport. If there truly is a connection of interest, hobbies, something there that you can build upon, that's great. But I wouldn't use like trying to force like, oh, what the weather's like where you're at. Like that's not really rapport. So I think people appreciate you being transparent, honest, and straight to the points with them too. Because I'm gonna be honest, most people respect their time a lot and are not looking to spend a ton of time with people beating around the bush when they're really trying to get help on their insurance and make sure they got the right thing in place. Yeah. So that's some of my ideas and thoughts on that, especially at the beginning, is just trying to relieve some of that sales pressure.
Yeah. And okay, marketing guys coming back in. We talked about this a lot on our social media webinar, but to the extent that you're doing that educational stuff that we were talking about, right? If you're putting out some videos and people are already getting to know you based on your videos, you're sort of you're a little microcosm, you're your own little influencer. But to the extent that people know you and trust you because you've been putting out videos or content and saying the right things, like that is going to build their trust, which you've probably already earned it by the time they picked up the phone to call you. And I think that goes a real long way. That
is a great point, Ray. On the best way of building that trust in the first 15 seconds is having built the trust before they even hop on the call. And that they're already hopping on, ready to potentially even do business with you and at ease, already like, this is someone I know is going to do right by me. And so, yeah, that them hopping on a call with you, they have no idea who you are and no trust is not ideal. And it is tough to build trust in 15 seconds. Who in the world, if you talk to for 15 seconds, you're like, I trust this person already. Like it's not too much. Maybe a grandma or something like that you're like talking to for a few minutes, but definitely not a salesperson. And so that's right. And that's what we focus on. We teach a ton, Robert, Ray, on the marketing side as well. Like it's providing that value and them getting to know you, that trust, that stuff, even if it's, through the content you put out and being in front of them and staying in front of them with whether it's, video, even ads, whatever it is. I mean, see you enough and see results from people that you've helped, the people you've helped save money on their insurance, you've helped make a difference because they had coverage, things like that. That social proof, those reviews, Ray and Robert were talking about when you're doing my business, you're building that trust up before they even get to the call. And then it's not, oh man, how do I get this person to even listen to me and trust me? It's okay, now we can focus our time on really making sure this person gets help and gets the right coverage in place, and maybe I can even save them some money too. So that's excellent point, Ray. Absolutely, is build it beforehand. With micro conversions
Nice.
all along the
Yes.
way of building
All
trust.
micro
It all
conversions.
ties
Right.
together. Yeah.
Building that trust level. Yep. Nice.
Love it. I think we actually answered the questions here. So I mean, good.
Right.
You know, Trista instant rapport building is a great way to build trust. And then Mando lead with value, and education will always help you close your clients. Absolutely, transparency. Yeah. All also we're talking about. I mean, honestly, if you're honest, you're transparent, you're putting the customer first and making it about them and that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a huge impact. And then, like Ray and Robert were saying, it already separates you from others like that are just like, hey, what kind of insurance you want? What do you need? What do you want? Let's do this. And they're just order takers. Like, you know, people don't want order takers. People want consultants. People want them to find out what they, you know, is actually a fit for them, right? So that's part of doing the job. It's not just, hey, you want state minimums? Here you go. Like, come on, guys. Let's actually protect people here. Let's see. Steve was asking about the video marketing webinar did like a couple weeks ago or something like that. Yeah, Steve, I think you dropped your info, so we'll send that over to you. We got a replay of that webinar and stuff too. So if you go to the link that we had for you guys to get the presentation, the case studies, and then we'll also, and then that link they just had, we'll also get you that as well, or you can just go ahead and go straight to that link if you'd like to, is check out Canopy as well. You can go ahead and do that too. As far as next marketing, Zoom and Facebook Lives, we do every week Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern. So I'd go ahead, put them on your calendar. We always talk about them in the group, and we have awesome, amazing people like Robert and Ray join us as well. We had an awesome webinar with them last week, which they dropped a link for you guys as well. And here, if you guys want to check that out and sell them more through social media. And we are honored to have them over here with us, talking about micro conversion with you guys. And you guys will be seeing them again, I'm sure, as well. So we really appreciate you guys having me here. And I think we answered all the questions. So once again, make sure to check out these links as far as getting your resources, getting Kai's presentation, checking out Canopy, taking advantage of that special they got for you guys as well. It's going to make a big difference in your agency for sure. So definitely make sure to check it out. So thank you everybody who came here, attended, hung out with us. We appreciate you guys staying with us past an hour as we went through everything with you guys. We're getting a lot of value.
That seems to be the standard these days. Yeah.
People, you know, when there's value provided, people will give you their time. And that's exactly as agents and agency owners, what you provide that value, people will spend that time with you to make sure that you can get them the right thing in place for them and protecting them and their families. So we appreciate it. Ray, Robert, anything, any last words before we wrap up?
Just a big thank you for having us here, and hope those of you watching got a ton of value out of this. And yeah, I hope to see you guys all again.
Yeah, this is awesome, guys. Thanks for having us, David and Al. And also, like, I think Virginia said it best. Like, I love insurance. I think we all do here on the call, and we want to make it better. So just really excited to get the chance to chat with everyone here, and feel free to reach out with any questions on Canopy. And yeah, hope to do this again sometime soon.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Thanks so much for everybody that attended. Appreciate you guys being here. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks, everybody.
All right, bye.